All right, so now that we've got our volume in the right neighborhood-ish, it's time to make this drop sound good. And then once the drop sounds good, we'll go to the other parts. But let's just take a look here. No, that's 8 bars too early, so it's right here. Ooh yeah! So the first thing that I'm noticing is as we're playing this, the sub bass note right here is really powerful, which is what we want. But if it's too powerful, it'll smush the rest of the mix. So one thing that I find is if we turn it down a little bit, we'll still get super loud sub, but it won't be overpowering and it will allow the rest of the mix to get to where we want it to be. Ooh yeah! So I'm gonna go to my sub bass right here. And then sub bass drop is where it's going to be. So let's mess around with this. So we're at -9. I'm going to like play around with it. You'll see right here. So let's see. No sub. That's the extreme, obviously. My goal, a lot of the songs that I make and a lot of the songs that I listen to, if I put it under this EQ visual graph thing, the sub bass is usually around 10, right here, this 10, maybe a tad under it. So I boosted this just to get it to the maximum, which sounds super distorted. It's crazy. So we were at -9. So let's see where we're at. If I could just get that down a little bit. Ooh yeah! I'm gonna try -9.5. -9.6, let's see. Ooh yeah! And another thing you notice is when it's just this part with no drums. Ooh yeah! The sub's a tad louder, so oftentimes what I'll do, and I'll do that right now, is make a new track for this. So and that's just to balance it out. So I'm going to turn this down even more, maybe -10.6. And I often do use this EQ as a visual helper, because sometimes it's hard to hear very slight differences, especially with the sub bass. Ooh yeah! All right, great. So that allows a tad more of the rest of the mix to go in. Now, one thing that I want to always be cognizant of is my reference track, which I'm using my track Inner Fire just because it's a 150 BPM dubstep track as well. So I'm going to hit play on this. Higher! You know that my Ooh yeah! So I'm just comparing. Ooh yeah! So we're actually at the right volume level. I think one thing that's coming out to me is this background screecher is a little too loud because I want this to be a background instrument. So let's turn this off for now and see what it sounds like. Ooh yeah! All right, so definitely noticeable. So I'm just gonna turn this down. It's at -22, maybe -24. Let's try that. Ooh yeah! Back to the reference track. I'm noticing also that the snare in the reference track is much louder, and that often happens when I get to this point because everything's getting squashed so much. Sometimes our snare or clap sound gets smushed down. So let's see if we can do anything about that. Ooh yeah! So often what I do is just push this super loud. So we're already squashing it with the bit crusher for both of these. So I'm going to go with the mixer here. And the reason why I am highlighting it like this, I hit shift and click. So I clicked on this, then I hit shift and click, is just so I like the ratio of where this is relative to each other. So if I hit to the mixer, I can move these together and they will go up and down the same amount of decibels. So we're at minus 8.2. So I'm going to hit X to get out of the mixer. And I'm going to hit play. Ooh yeah! All right, that's louder. Let's see what our reference track is. And like I said, I'm just hitting this play pause button. All right, let's listen back here. All right, so this is still a little bit quieter. I'm going to try something maybe a little crazier and adjust the reverb because this clap or the clap combo is still feeling thin. It's kind of high pitched. And I also want to listen to the kick under here. So let's see. It's just a muffled bass. Yep. So I think I do need to, I want to fatten this up a bit, but let's see what the best way to do that would be. So maybe a little bit more reverb. Let's try negative 17.5 for both of these. Negative 17.5. All right, so that is fatter. Let's see how that sounds all together. I'm also noticing that the kick isn't as strong as I'd like it to be relative to the reference track. So I'm going to make this kick a little bit louder. And now what I've noticed is that I'm adjusting everything for the drop. So there's two different ways I can do this because I don't want my drums that are the same volume during the drop to be during this section as well. So this is one of the benefits of making a track stack with the drums. So I'm going to close that and then hit Command D and duplicate my drum track. And now, let's see. So now I'm going to take all of these drums that I've had, and then I'm going to drag them all down. So right here, this is the first one. So I'm going to drag it down to the first one here. And it should be identical at the moment. So I'm going to call this drums drop. So now I'm going to close that out. So now all of the effects that I'm doing are just going to be for this drop. And then if I like these settings, I'll just copy the drums from the second drop to this. So, and actually the other parts of the first drop. And I want to boost the drums, and similar to the kick, because I have this under, like the drums like this. This has the muffled part. I'm going to boost them together. So I'm going to turn solo off. I don't need the mixer this high. Oftentimes, if I'm not screen recording, I will use an external monitor, and I'll have my mixer on the bottom and then have my main window on the top. But since I'm screen recording, that's not the case, and that's fine. Ooh yeah! Another thing what I'm thinking of, and this is called Audio 89 now, but this is my snare clap that I used from earlier, is maybe the echo needs to be a bit fatter. So if I turn this echo, so what the color does is it's a high pass filter. So if the color is super high, I'm going to turn off the reverb just to hear this effect. So you can kind of hear that the lower you go, the more of the frequency band is let through. So I'm going to try to let's try like 8. Now I'll turn the reverb on. And I'll try this with this. I think I have, because this is my 37 is my like default echo. This is my default echo, and oftentimes it sounds good. But I'm gonna turn this down as well, maybe I'll do 8 as well. So if I do that, let's see what it sounds like all together. And maybe I'll turn the echo up a little bit for both of these from 7 to 9. Usually I put too much echo or reverb on my mix and then I have to turn it down. So let's go back up here, turn this to 9. One thing I'm thinking of also, because I still don't think this is fat enough, is maybe adjust this filter, because I'm filtering out any body potential. So I don't need that big boomy part, but maybe a little bit of that will give me what I need. And notice, all of these tweaks right now are very slight. And I think I am going to try to boost the volume a little bit more, maybe to 1. Basically, you find the right mix when you go too much, and then you're like, oh, that's too loud, and then you know what too quiet is, you know what too loud is, and then you find a happy medium. So that's definitely too loud, but I'm going to turn it down now. All right, I don't hate that for now. So I'm going to go back to the reference, go back to the drop here. All right, let's listen now. All right, so I'm noticing that, one, this is sounding better, starting to sound better. Let me just listen to the reference again. All right, I'm going back to this thing. It's still a little too loud, because if I listen to the background elements of the reference track, they're very much so in the background, like you can barely tell they're there. Whereas this is kind of, it almost sounds whiny, which I like this, but I just want it to be quieter. So I'm going to do something more extreme. Let's go down to negative 28. So that's down 4 decibels. And notice when I mute this, you can tell that it's gone. So I don't want it to be all the way gone. And maybe this will go down a tad. And the ARPs, let's see the ARPs. that's not bothering me at all. Maybe this turn this a little up. Let's see. Just tweaking. Okay. That's I like this. It's not nearly as much of an issue now. So another thing that I'm noticing is that our main basses, especially this one, just this like the first like hit. I think it's too quiet, so I'm gonna try to bump these as well. So let's see. Ooh yeah. And now that I'm listening to this, I like it louder. And since I made this louder, I'm going to have to make the other basses louder as well. So I'll adjust that in a moment. But I feel like this is a little too thin, which is funny because normally, like I said, I put too much echo and reverb on the mix before the master, and then it bites me. But here I think I've done the opposite. So I'm going to turn the, let's see, I'm going to turn the, oh yeah, only 2% echo. I'm going to make that 4. Let's see what 5 sounds like. Because I want it to be like wet and fat and saturated here. And then let's turn this reverb to minus 29 or minus 28. Let's see if that makes a difference. Ooh yeah. All right, I'm just going extreme land here. So that is way too loud, way too much reverb. You can kind of hear. And it was at minus 31. Ooh yeah. So I want it somewhere in between. That's kind of like I said, go to the extremes, then you'll find where that happy medium is. So let's see, let's try minus 24. Ooh yeah. I like that. That might be a little too much. Maybe minus 26. Let's try. Ooh yeah. All right, I like that for now. Let's go to the other basses. All right, so this is a tad annoying. Just because well, I guess, let's see what this is. So I have this. See, what's annoying is that they all have different echo and reverbs. Because I organized this before Logic Pro did the update where you can have a track stack within a track stack. What I would probably do, and maybe I will do this, is make another track stack with just the ones that I want to reverberate and echo out. And I think I just probably have the same echo and reverb on both of these. Let's see. It appears so. So what I often do, and I'm just looking down. Okay, it's really only 2 tracks because, well, no, it's 4 tracks. And then the rest of these are like background layers. All right, and then these ones are also, all right, so these ones are different. So I might, well, let me deal with these ones first, the ones up top. So since these all have the same echo and reverb, I'm going to create a track stack, summing stack. And now this is what I've been mentioning. This is within the stack here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all 4 of these, take a look, and I see, let's see, what is the EQ? All right, there's nothing, so that's fine. So I'm going to, oh, I don't want an auto sampler. That was an accident. I am going to take the echo and the reverb, and then I'm going to disable it for all 4 of these tracks. So now the echo and reverb aren't going to hit separately. They're all going to hit one together. So that's just going to make controlling this at the macro level easier. So let's see. First thing I want to do is turn the volume up. Let's see, I turned this up about 2 to 3 decibels. So let's see. Ooh yeah. All right, so this definitely needs to go up in volume. And I'm going to match whatever the volume or the space designer I have here. So let's see, this is -26. And then this one, the echo was +5 now. So let's try that. So echo +5. And then the space designer, I want to go, well, wow, so that's -35. Let's try -26. That still might be too high. So let's see. Ooh yeah. And I was going to boost this 2 decibels, maybe more. Ooh yeah. Okay. So, just like the sub, because there's no drums and other background stuff underneath, and I turn the sub down, I often do that with my main basses too, because I want them to sound the same. Because like I said, at this point, I've got my mastering rack on. Now I'm just making the subtle tweaks to make the track match the mastering rack. Whereas, like I said a million times, I'm sure that's not the way that you're supposed to do it, but I've been enjoying doing this and it works for me. Another way you can do that is by automating the gain. That will reduce the number of tracks. So like I could have gone to this track stack right here and then added like a gain or any sort of volume control. And then I wouldn't have to keep duplicating the tracks. It really doesn't matter either way. So the way you would do that is let's say I want to do that here. So I would add gain. I don't like to automate the volume because that doesn't allow me to mix it. So I would add a gain here, and it wouldn't matter if it's before or after the sidechain compressor. So I'll go to utility, gain. And then this is my default because I use it on the master. But I hit Alt and click to reset that. And ooh yeah. So if I do automate A, and then I'll go to gain, and then I'll add that here. So the way I do it is, so first of all, that first hit is with a drum. So I would not keep the gain, I would not lower the gain until after. And then these ones are lower. So and there's no drum, so I would make these lower. So let's see, and the drum comes back. So I'm gonna have this, let's say, go down to, oh, that's too much. This is one issue with the gain plugin is it allows you to go so much lower that you gotta be careful because it can go quick. So let's get to -2 and see if that sounds good. Oh, and I want this whole thing to be loud, so let's put the negative, oh, oops, I'm not trying to do that. Just want to drag this one point here, and then I want to have the 0, 0 the whole time here. So let's try that. Ooh yeah. So that's the basic idea of the effect. Like I said, it's the exact same thing as if I made a copy of these files, and then I made the duplicate like I did for the subwoofer, or the sub bass, I should say. So like this is down here. I only did it down 1, but it's fine. So anyway, so let's listen to it. Ooh yeah. All right. I also should do it for these other basses here. So this one. So I'll do the same thing. So add gain, and it doesn't really matter before or after the echo and reverb. So if I hit A for automate, I can see there's so much automation going on somewhere in this track stack. But I'll go to gain, and then just gain, and I'll put it there. And then same thing, except for since it's not on the, like all of these little like squeaky chirp basses. Ooh yeah. None of these are on the drum. So I will just put this down right away. So I'll make 2 here. And then, ooh yeah. So then after this, it can come back up. So if you do 4 like this, all at the same level, it's easier. So I'll bring this down to 2, -2. This is where making your screen bigger is fine. There we go. So -2 decibels. So go. So it gets a little bit louder. So now, 2 things. One, I didn't even have to create an extra track, which is nice, especially because we have so many tracks here. And I know that I've done the freeze trick to save CPU and hard drive stuff so your computer doesn't crash or it doesn't lag while you're doing this stuff. But it is good to minimize tracks. So automation is a good way to do that. So now let's put that all together and let's see how this is sounding. Ooh yeah. So I'm gonna listen to this again. Ooh yeah. I am gonna raise this a little bit more, maybe up to 3. And because I did the automation, raising it still allows me to raise this volume knob without messing with anything. So let's go back to here. Ooh yeah. Okay. I think that sounds pretty good so far. One thing that's maybe needs to be adjusted is the hi-hats. I usually go kick and snare and then adjust the bass volume, and then the hi-hats are kind of secondary. In other genres of music where the drops aren't so intense and so really intense at all the frequencies, hi-hats and cymbals like that are a little bit more important. But since a lot of our bass synths have high frequencies, the hi-hats are more background element rather than like, I don't know, in hip hop or trap music where they're very much so in the forefront. So anyway, I'm noticing that the second part of these basses are right here. So let's see what this sounds like. So these ones right here. So I like the sound. It's similar, but also different, which is good. Variety is good. But I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to make another track stack here. And notice, the reason why I'm expanding out right now is to tell, it's like, okay, in drop 2, am I going to have to do something different? But no, because these types of sounds are all in the same 2 tracks. So, and I'm assuming they have the same. I think we already checked that. Yep, that's -31 and -2. And then this one is -2 and B -31. Great. So that's why I'm doing this track stack. One, to make it easier to adjust. Because like I said, I like the ratio between the 2 basses, these 2 basses that are creating, or the 2 layers that are creating this bass. But for here, I'm going to now do the same thing. I'm going to hit X to open the mixer. I'm going to move this echo over here, and then I'll turn this one off. You could delete it, totally fine. And now I'm going to boost the echo a little bit. Let's boost this to 5, boost the Space Designer to 26. Let's try that. And let's see what this sounds like. So reverb and obviously volume, but reverb and the kind of ringing effects like echo will make your sound a little bit less flat or a little less thin. It's going to take up more space. So let's listen to this now. And one thing I did here but did not do here is raise the volume by 3 dB. Let's raise this by 3 dB and see if that changes anything. So let's say. think that sounds good. Now, I've done a lot of stuff without checking in with my reference track. I like to check in with the reference track, especially with the drop, as much as I can. So let's go back to the reference track.
Ooh yeah.
All right, so just with those minor changes, we are now a lot closer to the sound of my reference track, which is great. And once we're kind of at there, now it's more so let's get this to the best spot we can do. And I know I said I was going to do the cymbals next or the hi-hats next at some point, but anytime you notice something, might as well attack it. I noticed that one of the squeaks was extra loud around here, so I'm going to listen to the end of this part again. Maybe it was this one. All right, that wasn't as bad as I remembered, but let me listen to it again. It was this last squeak, this one right here. So if that is pretty intense. Yes, there it is. It is a little bit loud. So maybe I'll duplicate this track. I'm just going to drag this on and see what I can do. Maybe turning it down will be a little, we'll just solve it. So like, and then let's see about this EQ. I'm doing it before the bit crusher for volume purposes. Oh yeah, these harsh frequencies right here. Around, I don't know, the mid-highs, there are some harsh frequencies. So first of all, let me see if I turn this off, because I was already boosting those a bit. But let's see what happens when I turn those off. Context matters here. All right, that already sounds better than if I had it here. All right, cool. So I'm going to listen to it one more time. This is just part 1 of the first drop, or 1A. This is drop 1A. So let's do this. And by the way, I'm going to play a tiny bit of the build-up in, but we're going to adjust that later. So we don't have to worry about that at all.
Ooh yeah.
Now that I'm just listening to it, going back to the reference. Now I'm wondering, okay, did we turn this down too much? This whiny thing.
Ooh yeah.
I like that. It's like I said, these are mastering the way I do it. There's just a million different tiny little things. But if you do a million different tiny things right, it'll add up to a big difference. But I just heard another squeak. It was at the end of this. So maybe this will be the low squeak track. I'm going to call this low squeak. And let's see, where was it? It was... Let's see if it works. If I drag this down here to the low squeak. I think that's fine. I think that it's a little bit quieter, but it's less harsh, and the drums are taking over. The side chain that we have hooked up to the drums is taking over there anyway, so I think it's fine that this bass is a little bit quieter. All right, the next thing I want to look at in this drop is these main basses. I feel like the side chain is doing a lot, or just the kick is overpowering, so I want to just see what I can do here.
Ooh yeah.
So, like I've said, a lot of listening.
Ooh yeah.
Like and this is probably a tiny issue, but what I'm hearing is at the beginning, this is super powerful.
Ooh yeah.
And then when it comes in with everything, it's not as powerful. So I'm going to mess with the sidechain compressor here. So if you see this.
Ooh yeah.
It's going down about 2 dB. Here's the graph. Like we can see it just dipping a little bit, and it's not that intense. I'm just going to change it a tad. So the threshold 17. I want this maybe to go to 1 because this is our main bass that hits with the kick drum.
Ooh yeah. Ooh yeah.
All right, I don't mind that here. Now, also listening to the reference track. Where are we? Reference track. Here we go. It's now seeming like our master is a tiny bit louder than the reference track, or at least a little harsher. So let's see. Maybe it's similar here. Okay, so let's see. I also wanted to take a look at the arpeggio because I feel like this drop background. Let's see. It might sound better to lift this up a bit, so let's see.
Ooh yeah.
Yeah, I don't mind that up a bit.
Ooh yeah.
Maybe a tad down. All right, I'm also noticing these crashes are pretty intense. Like, especially when there's nothing else going on. So oftentimes what I'll do is I'll make a duplicate track, Command D, and then I will bring this down and then lower the volume a bit. So let's try that. I brought that down about 3 decibels. All right, now that seems a little too low. Let's do negative 19.
Ooh yeah.
Let's try it without the crash. Let's just see what that would sound like. I don't mind that. And the problem is this buildup, we haven't touched this yet, so this is sounding louder than it's going to be. I'm going to end up turning this down a little bit. I kind of like having the crash in there, especially with that reverse cymbal coming in. So let's see. And let's see if this is too loud.
Yeah. Ooh yeah.
And I know we just spent some time messing with this. Where are these basses? That's what happens. My slightly disorganized method. I've lost the basses. Drop vocals. This is strange. Oh, no, here they are. All right. The track stack within the track stack. So these are a little quieter. And I know I messed with that because one of them was a little too loud. I'm going to make a new track here, Command D, for this. I think it's just because it's competing with the kick drum, so I'd like it to have a little bit more volume. Let's turn this up maybe to 7.4. All right, that's good. And then I'm going to do this. Turn this up a bit. Let's try this to 7.4, negative 7.4. And then this low squeak, which is the one that we messed with. I'm going to turn this, let's do this to negative 10, because I've boosted everything else 2 decibels. Maybe just because it's a little squeaky, let's go maybe down to negative 10.6. Sure, let's try that. All right, now that squeak seemed louder. I think it has to do with the kick, because this kick, ba 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 ba, that's pushing the side chain down, whereas this one, there's only one. So I'm gonna make a new track for this one. And then I'm gonna just bring this one down. And then let's go back down to negative 12. All right, hopefully this is good. I'm just saving this. That's what that little blip was, so.
Ooh yeah.
All that work for just one part of a drop. So, and I think I mentioned this earlier, but I see how I'm getting this 0.0 red. This is, when I started using Logic a long time ago, it did not do this. So, and it bugs me. I don't know why. It's probably illogical. So oftentimes what I'll do is I will just put a gain here. So I'm going to drag this gain after the bit crusher, because the bit crusher is the last thing. I'm just using this EQ as a meter, so this is not doing anything to the sound. And then the multimeter doesn't do anything to the sound. So this gain right here, this +8 would totally send it way too loud. It would sound terrible. I'm going to hit Option and click to reset this, and I'm going to set this to negative 0.1. I'd say for the last maybe 3 or 4 years, maybe more, I've been exporting my tracks as negative 0.1 instead of 0.0. It doesn't really matter. I'd say most people probably do 0.0, but it literally just fixes this problem. So you probably won't notice much of a sound difference. But if I play something, and I put this before the bit crusher, which is why, let's try that again. So this needs to be after the bit crusher. So all I've done basically is I've taken what we've had and turned it down 0.1 decibels. And for me, that's fine. Logic doesn't get mad at me. I don't know really why that's the case, but I guess it's better to have it under than to be clipping even a tad. So once again, not a big deal. All right. So now that I'm going to call this done, and I'm using quotations. Because I will probably go back and tweak some parts of this when we do our final listen through. But the good news is that even though this is one small section of the song, we've actually done the majority of the work. I have 3 other drops, and all I'm going to do is basically just match this stuff. Most of this is on the same track, so it's not going to be a ton of changes. What I'll probably have to do is maybe some of the stuff that I did down here and adjust this stuff over here. And then same thing for drop 2, but because it's mostly the same instruments and the same sounds, it's not going to be that big of a deal.